Hey everybody, it is an absolutely fantastic Saturday afternoon. The horrible heat wave is finally broken, and I was just out here getting my kayak loaded up because I'm going out on the water today, and we just have so many really pretty daylilies in bloom right now. I thought I would take a few minutes and do a little impromptu yard tour, primarily to look around at the daylilies. If you're familiar with the yard, if you've seen my other yard tours, you'll remember I recently had all those honeysuckle bushes up there. They've all been cut down and gone. So let's start over here. In fact, we can actually start with this right here. Just some coneflowers we haven't even gotten in the ground yet. Really liked these, so not sure where they're going to go yet, but we do have them. Looks like we gotta get out here and water our planters. So here is where we have several different daylilies that are just awesome looking. We have these which are just enormous. I mean, if you look at them next to my hand for scale, they're just huge. So I'm really liking those. That one is just amazing looking. It is so frilly and lacy, but it's also sort of thick and poofy at the same time. It's like a pillow fill almost. It's a really, really nice looking daylily. We've got these that are sort of between. The one's already passed. That one still gives you a good idea of what they look like though. And then of course we have this one, which also really big. And then over here, these are doubles. You can see how they have the double flower head on them. What else we got going on? That one and this one down here are actually different. I know they look really similar, but they're not. And this one actually looks to be a double too. So we've still got a ways to go for all these to bloom. Now of course we have these, what I call roadside orange, just common daylilies. We have them everywhere. We have those by the thousands. These yellow ones are really pretty. And I like these too. Well, I like all of them. I even like the roadside orange, as common as they are. And you literally do see them on the side of the road. I see them back in the woods when I'm hiking. It's a shame none of these are actually open right now. These were big, fat, double orange ones. And all of these are already sort of past. We do have a couple left to go, but there's none actually blooming at the moment. And then these are all just more of the roadside orange down here. Now we don't have any daylilies down the side of the driveway that I can think of. But we got a bunch of other stuff right now. The hosta's in bloom. You can kind of see these flower spikes here. These are all hostas. We got a bunch of hostas across there. That's where I'm going to be very shortly. So coming back up this way again, not really going to do a whole yard tour. It's, you know, just hostas and lilies and whatnot everywhere. We got so many of them. You can see all these blue flowers all over the place. You can definitely tell it's midsummer. All the hostas are in bloom. So you can see the small roadway we've got through our yard now from where they did all the tree work. Oh, and there's little Princess Sassafras coming out to say hello and walk around with us for a minute. Or walk on past us and go off to do her own thing, as cats are wont to do. So let's come up the side of the hill here, because we've got quite a few good looking daylilies up here too. We got a bunch of stuff going on up here. The hydrangeas look awesome this year. The bee balm which is this red stuff up here, looks great. This is one of our red daylilies. We've already seen the same red one down there, so that's not anything new, but it is pretty. More of the same right there. Here's some of those orange doubles that we missed in the driveway. There's one or two that are still blooming up here, so you get a little bit better idea what they look like. We've already seen this yellow one. These two are the ones that are new that I really like. This really dark one I just think is stunning. And then this one back here is just a really interesting color. It's not really salmon, it's not really sherbet, I'm not really sure what you'd call that. It's just a really pretty color. Tons of texture, all sorts of subtle color changes throughout the petals. Really, really neat looking daylily. And then of course this one here, I always like those really dark, intense colors in any kind of flower, like our black petunias I think are fantastic. Got another good looking hydrangea up here. Hostas everywhere. Our loose strife is getting ready to go. We have more daylilies in here. Of course, we got all the bee balm and everything going on up here. We can have a look at this when we come back. We'll go over to the other side of the yard. For the moment, I don't know how well they're coming out, but we got patches of daylilies all up through there. So this is one of the trees that they just removed when we had some tree work done about a week ago. And even though the tree was dead, it still provided a lot of shade. So this hosta, for example, you can see how some of the leaves are starting to bleach out a little bit. I don't think it's adjusting well to all this full sun shining on it. Well, full sun by our standards, and a lot more sun than this hosta was getting. You can see that leaf over there looks pretty bad altogether. So we just put some new elephant ears in. I'm not sure what that is. And then, no, did not even see Squeaker lying right there that whole time. He's just lying there looking at us, watching me shoot video. I don't know if anybody else noticed him or not, but I sure didn't. So this garden is a work in progress. It always is. My wife's been out here working on this one a lot, and I don't know, we've probably got 10 years of tinkering into this one, adding stuff, moving stuff around. We have a few little walkways that are all sort of overgrown at this point, and lots of stuff, everything from, you know, standard hostas and astilbes, ferns, all that sort of stuff. But then we've got dead nettles and various trillium and things that sort of taper off into the woods and kind of become, you know, just sort of blends where the garden ends and the woods begin. And it's still a work in progress. We don't even have everything all the way in the ground yet. Now down here, this area would be hard to show you everything that's in it, because there's all sorts of little stuff that's tucked away up under the edges of stuff, little smaller hostas under larger hostas. We've got a bunch of micro hostas over here. Little tiny, here's a good example of one. You see all these little teeny tiny flowers. That's a full grown, fully developed hosta in flower. Likewise with these, you can see these little tiny flower spikes, little flower heads on them. So this is where a lot of our little micro hostas are. There's another little tiny one there. I'm not even going to pretend I can remember all the different names of all the various hostas we have. We have so many different species. I can't even remember the names of all different ferns we have. And we have far more hostas than we do ferns. So this is another tree that they took down. Get a little better look at the garden over here. See, this tree was leaning that way, and my neighbor parks his truck right up in here sometimes, and I was just worried that that was going to go right down and remove his truck. So we went ahead and got rid of that. Over here is our potting bench. where we do cuttings and transplants and all that kind of stuff. And then it had a huge oak tree up above it that was dead. We have oak borers on the property, and they're wiping our trees out left and right. We can't keep on top of cutting them down as fast as the oak borers are killing them. So this was the other tree that came down. So that was the 3 of them. And this side of the yard took a little bit more of a beating. He did come back through with the bobcat, and he sort of smoothed it out and graded it as best he could and put grass seed back down and everything. But this side of the yard got torn up. And this stump here is a tree they took down last year, but he left about a 15-foot tall stump because at the time the yard was just too soft for him to take such a big stump out. So they were finally able to come back and finish that and get rid of it. And then of course now we can follow the roadway around the yard. And this wheelbarrow actually is a planter, but it's a mobile planter. It rusted through in the bottom corner, so it's no good as a wheelbarrow for the most part. And just over time, it got potting soil put in it, and before you know it, seeds started coming up, and then we just started doing it deliberately. And so now we've got Lady in Red Salvia. So this is going to look gorgeous once this actually starts blooming. We've got flower heads on it so far, but no actual flowers yet. And then of course, it's mobile, so we can wheel it around, move it wherever we want, etc. So this is a look up at the what we call the rock garden. It's a tiered garden, I guess, but each little tier, I know you can't really see it, but each little tier is ringed off with a stack of rocks. I guess we can finish up by looking at some of our less gardeny, more sort of transitional. Some of this is kind of house plants that we put outside in the summer. Some of it is stuff that hasn't made it into the ground yet. Some of it will go back inside later. This always kills me. This is our catnip. If you've ever seen my videos of my garden tank in the basement and you've seen the catnip that sits under my grow light, this is what catnip that sits out under my full sun. This is one of the sunniest spots of our yard, and that's what that catnip looks like sitting out here. It's a joke. And then of course over here we've got all sorts of stuff that's coming and going. We still haven't even cleaned up from when they were here doing the tree work. So everything is kind of a wreck. And that is going to be hopefully a shade canopy that I'm building for my kayak. Hopefully, we'll see. I don't know if it's going to work out or not, but there you go. There's my impromptu yard tour / look at my daylilies. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hopefully there'll be a kayak video coming up real soon, so make sure you're subscribed. That way you won't miss that or anything else. I'll put it on my outdoors playlist just like this one. Actually, this will be on my yard tour playlist, so check either one. Make sure you're subscribed. Thanks for watching, and little Princess Sassafras says goodbye as well. She just ran back out of the bushes.